Hi, Stella here, welcome. I'm doing another journal, another sewing journal. I don't know why I'm focused on sewing. Oops, that is not what I want, so I'll just toss that. I've got so many actual ephemera that I've managed to create, which I may or may not use, but they are there. I also cut some pieces of fabric and laminated them. I don't know whether I'll use them or not. So let's just pop these all away for now and get down to the nitty gritty. These ones I've still got to cut. So we're doing A5 as usual. I love the A5 size because I can buy this box board in A5 and I don't have to cut. Perfect. It is 900 GSM and it's about 1.5 millimeters thick. Could it be 1.8? Well, do you know, that is so hard to see. It's pretty close to 1.8, I think. It's quite thick. So I've got the A5, sorry, which is in inches, 8 1/4 by almost 5 3/4, smidge before. So it's like 5 13/16, or 14.7 by 21. And this one this is my spine. I chose 1 1/4 plus the length. Okay, so that's that. Let's get that out of the way. Okay, now here is my cover. This is what I've chosen for my cover. We've got a lace background and we've got my sewing journal embedded on the front. I've also printed one out that I could paper towel onto the top. I could raise it if I wanted, not sure. And that's the back. So this one we'll keep aside for the moment. Okay, let's go through each. Oh yeah, that is going to be my spine. I like that, rolls of fabric. So let's just go through each lot of signatures. Actually, oddly enough, that looks upside down to me. I don't know. It did look upside down to me. Anywho, we've got that one. They are upside down. They were upside down. And then we've got this one. And on the back, we've got some faded roses on a nice cream background. Some of them don't. Some of them have that lace with the little pink pearls. So I've alternated them. And then we've got that one. They're really pretty papers. frame. I'm thinking that might be a nice cover. Let's go through this one. Sorry, I've just got to move my camera just a tad. It's just too far up there. Great for journaling, or you could put a photograph on there. One's got the lace behind it. One's also got the lace. So is that. So let's just change a few things. No, let's not. Let's just leave it because I've already sorted. Let's leave it. I think we've got pretty much the same. I'm pretty sure. I'm only having 2 signatures. I like 2 signatures. So I'm going that way. Okay. Now I have got 12 of these pages, which are the background pages on both sides. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 for each signature. Okay, let's go folding. Folding these in half. Two. You want plenty of actual journaling pages in there. Fold this one that way. It doesn't really matter. Got quite a few. Now, if you've never made a journal before, I'll try my best to go through every step with you. First of all, you need to have some pretty journaling papers. So you can either create your own, or you can purchase some on Etsy. There are so many beautiful papers out there. So grab something you like. Get some A5 box board or A4 and cut it in half. I prefer to have it already cut for me. print out your papers and then trim them to 11 1/4 by 7 3/4, just a tad over, like a hair over 7 3/4, or just go straight 7 3/4. Well, 7 3/4 it is anyway. I looked at that wrong. So 7 3/4 by 8 1/4. Okay, this one I inadvertently printed this out on a thicker paper, so I'm putting that on the front. That's another thicker paper. There's that one. It's no big deal getting a slightly thicker paper. Oh, 2 of them. Okay, very shortly I'll get to counting how many I've got of each. I think I had 13. Now let's go back to, say, there. I'll pop that one in there. And I'm kind of liking this, putting those frames on the inside. Okay, that's our first signature. Now you can, if you wish, trim these. I don't like to. I like to keep them as they are, but that's up to you. So what are we going to do is just going to count how many pages we've got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I know there's 2 there. 12. I'm pretty sure there's 2 there. I was wrong. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 pages, which is giving me 46, 18, 92 actual pages, because you've got 2. No, 40, 46 and 40. Oh, my math is shocker. I've lost count of all that. Sorry. What I'm going to do is put a little clip there. No, I don't need it. That's going to leave a mark. Okay, we'll just set this aside. That's a lot of pages. I know I've got one that's a bit thicker. For some reason I got my papers mixed up, so I'm going to use this one. There's my cover. I'm going to leave that one until a bit later. And of course we're adding our backing. So when you print out your papers, pop them back in your printer to print a sort of a generic one on top. Sometimes the papers you purchase may not have a plain one for the back, in which case don't worry about doing double-sided. But if they do, if there's one page you actually like for journaling on, go for it. I'm gonna go there. Excuse me. Go this way. All of these pages can be journaled on. It's always spaces for journaling. So when choosing your papers, make sure that you've got that. Okay, so this one we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 19. So we've got 19 split in 2 is 38, and if you double that, it's 76. So there's our 2 signatures. What you will also need is some hat elastic, and what I do is I stand up my signatures and then I measure what I would like for my spine. I don't want them squashed up like that. I don't want them loose like that. So usually when you've got signatures about this much, you need about 1.25 inches of a spine, and that's how I work that out. So, whoops. Let's just work out. And we've got, and I am going to have to trim those a little bit. So that's okay, I can do that. I can do that. Okay, so I'm just going to go and trim them. You don't have to, but if you've got as many pages as I have, they are possibly going to be wider than your A5 box board, so you may need to either trim them or cut them 1/4 inch shorter. So I would go 1/2 inch shorter across here. So instead of the page being instead of the page being 11 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 16ths, which is what mine is, I would cut it to 10 and 13 16ths. So allow yourself 1/4 inch here for the end of your papers, and then double it to 1/2 inch because you've got double pages. Okay, does that make sense? I hope so. Okay, I'm just going to trim these. Okie doke, I've trimmed them. Let's set them aside. We're going to do the lay flat method, which is famous from Country Craft Creations. I'm also using my favourite adhesive for large projects like this. Oh, look at my shadow. That's a bit off-putting for me, but if I put my light out, we've got a horrible winter's day today. I don't really want to put my light out. So, I printed out this from my papers. What I'm going to do is just put my box board at the back. I'm just going to hold it up to my computer or my light or whatever, and then put it down. Now I'm going to draw around it. And then I'm going to trim to about 3/4 of an inch. From that line, that pencil line. I would say you work that out for yourself. Okay, and since the back is just plain, there's nothing on it apart from this design. So we just pop this in the middle and draw around it and then cut. I can just use my scissors for this. It'd be easier to use another method, but I've got stuff stacked on my guillotine cutter at the moment. I have yet to decide if I'm going to put a beaded dangle on this. I may do. Okay. So, now this one is going to fit right in the middle there. So when cutting this piece out, I've given myself about 1.25 inches on either side roughly, and just a little over 1/2 inch for top and bottom. And these are the wings, you need them. So let's get front done. I think this is US letter size. It's certainly not A4. And just cut it out. Just cut inside my pencil line. Okay, just going to put it on the box board, or chipboard, or grey board, whichever country you come from. and we'll take that off. Now we have to put this inside our frame and make sure we are straight. Whoopsie-daisy. I think that's it. Okay, I've printed out the cover pieces on 160 GSM paper. The pages on my journal are between 100 and 120. Mostly 100, but occasionally I've popped in 120 by mistake. There's not a great deal of difference from it. Enough that you can feel a thickness, but it's not going to affect the journal. And my glue, art glitter glue, let's just fold all these edges over, give them a reason for being. Now when you're cutting the corners, always leave about 1/8 of an inch for folding over, so that that little corner doesn't pop out. You don't want that spoiling the look of your book. Fold that over, flip it back and burnish it well. And that little corner, just tuck it in. Just tuck that in. I like to do opposites, it doesn't really matter. Burnishing well ensures that your papers are going to stick together. It helps to soak the glue into the fibres of the paper. You can see our corners are beautiful. You don't see any grey board or box board or chipboard. You don't need to soak it with glue, but use enough. This art glitter glue, and I'm sure there's some others that actually dry clear. I don't recommend using PVA glue. Because there is water in it, I think. I'm pretty sure there's some water in it, and water will alter the fabric of your paper and will cause distortion, bubbles, etc. So I really don't, personally I don't recommend you use PVA glue. If you do, if that's all you've got, use a brush and cover every aspect of your paper. Don't leave any little dry piece where it will bubble, because it will, and it looks horrendous. It looks horrible. Right. Ah, horrible. Appropriate. I'm just going to put this on. Okay, let's just cut this off. No, I'm not going to use that because I've got some strips up here pre-cut. Okay, now I've said this before and I'll keep saying it. This adhesive sheet does not like sharing, so if you have to overlap, always lift it a bit, lift your backing before adhering your extra strip, okay? Otherwise you will have an awfully hard time separating the backing sheets. Something I learned the hard way. Okay, we are all covered. Just center as best we can. There's no pattern that we have to watch out for. And again, let's monitor these corners. Let the paper know where we want it to go eventually. It helps to loosen the fibres. I think this is the best method for doing journals, is the lay flat method. I absolutely love it. All credit to Country Craft Creations. this one. Got some strips. Okay, I'm going to be mindful that I am overlapping, so I'll put this down and then take the backing off. Unless you want to cut it to measure that. I don't. Just make sure I'm putting it on the right side. That's it. You could measure it out, and I am slightly crooked. You could measure it out, which would be a good thing. Now what I want to do, I'm using a less rounded tool here, because I want to push that paper into the side of that box board. And you can see it's now pretty much level where this side is not. If you have a plastic ruler, you can do that. Use that. If not, don't use a metal ruler because it will cut your paper. Now, just flatten it out again. You've just told it where you want it to go eventually. Now we are just putting some glue on here. Just at the width of that box board. Fold it over. Give it a burnish. Now push that side. Sorry, I forgot to put some bit of glue there. Push that side into the box board. When you push it into the wall of the box board, you'll notice that this comes out at a downward angle. You can see that? It's come out at a downward angle instead of straight across. So I can show you the difference there. It's very slight, but there is a difference. And then on this side as well, and here, pushing that in to the box board. And I'm going to trim these because I don't like bulk. Okay, you can see they are, you see it, that angle there, they're fixed to the side. So what I like to do is just cut off some of this. Just like that. Trim them all and then we'll glue them down. Okay, let's just pop some glue in there. Okay, now we are going to put some glue on the box board there, the sides, all the way up. Oopsie daisy. Go back and push that into the box board again. Oh, it's raining. Oh my goodness, the sky is just full of rain clouds. Of course, we're winter here in Australia. So, if you look at that, and look at the back, it is flush. I think this one just needs a little bit more coaxing, I think. Right. Now we are going to be joining our front and back to here. I'm grabbing a piece of cut off box board because I don't want to go right up to that spine with my glue, and that helps keep me honest. Plenty of glue. And then just a little bit on here, on the inside. Not necessarily, but I like to have a double whammy there. Okay, make sure we are top and bottom straight and push it down and in towards the spine. So it should sit flush with the spine inside that box board ridge. Okay, flip it over and give it some more burnishing there. You can see we are completely flat right across there. Turn it upside down. Now luckily this doesn't have an up or a down, this fabric, so it's good. Doesn't matter if we are upside down. Oops. Yeah. So you want to go at the other end of your spine. If you do have a what do you call it, directional paper, make sure that this part is upside down. Push it down and in. Gosh, I love that spine. I do love that spine, it's gorgeous. Oops, I'm a bit up there. Not completely straight, I will have to fix that. Here we can just remove very carefully, snip that little piece off. That's okay. My sewing journal, and there's our beautiful spine. A little bit more burnishing does not hurt. Isn't that gorgeous? Love that spine. Okay, now we have to decide what we're going to put on the inside here. What I have been doing is just measure half, grab our pencil, 1 1/4 equals 5/8. Yeah, 5/8. So just in the middle there, I'm going to just draw a line. Now, oopsie-daisy, got drawers open everywhere. I don't need you at the moment. Pick you up when I do. Okay, so I'm going fairly close to the edge, like a 1/16 of an inch, and right to that is about 6 1/2. Let's see about this one. 6 1/2. One of them will have to be just a little bit off 6 1/2. So, by 6 1/2 by 8 1/8. So I can take one of these if I want, No, I am going to print out something. I'm just going to go away and choose what I want to go on the inside, and I'll be right back. Okay, I've chosen to go with the lace and the tiny pink pearls. So first I am going to take off these pieces. I always forget to print out borderless printing. I have heard that it's not good for your printer because it spreads some ink somewhere. I don't know. Okay, so we want two pieces at 6.5 by 8.25. So let's go with it. How big is that? 7, 8.25. Oh, that's not. Okay. So this needs to be 8.25. My length, 8.25. And my width, 6.5. Might just be easier for me to go 2 at 6.5, just less than 6.5. And I'll probably need all these spare pieces for this, and I've got some other pieces. Okay, when using the double-sided adhesive sheets, pull up the backing a little, place your cover piece down, and then hold this down, but let that flap, because you don't want to stick that yet. Only when you are sure that you've got this situated, then press it down. Okay, I'm going to start from this end and work towards the centre. So this is going to be my start point, and you'll see I've got 1/8 of an inch there gap without adhesive. So let's take this up, and we are going to put some glue in there. All your edges should be glued, or at least adhered. Otherwise you'll get lift up, and that's not what you want. So let's have a look there. It looks pretty good as far as the length is concerned. That looks good. That looks good. I am going to stick it down. So I'm looking at here and here, making sure that I am inside the framework. Okay, now before I do any burnishing, I am just going to get where my what do you call it, spine starts. I'm just going to go in there, find that little gully there, and just gently work the paper. Just gently. You're not trying to create a gully on this. You're just gently working the paper and saying, that's where I want you to go, that's where I want you to fold. And then we will burnish that well, especially on the edges, and then lift that up. Beautiful. Now we're going to do it from the other side. I think I'm going to need a bit more light, which is the straightest part, that one. Now I can stick a little bit on here, or I can go with glue, it doesn't matter. Bit. Make sure I'm not overlapping, because you know it doesn't like it. Okay. Now I do have some overlap of the adhesion, so cut that off. Wherever you see it, cut it off. Oops, there's a bit there. Sorry, I'm just going to have a bit more light. Okay, we've cut that off. A little bit there. Or if it's too small, you can tuck it in, which we'll have to do. Okay, so I'm going to take that off. I'm going to take this extra off. And then I'm going to lift this piece. To there. Okay, we do have a place where we need some glue. This one we are also working from this side. If it has to overlap, it's got to overlap in the middle. So always start from the outside. And that looks pretty straight to me. Looks pretty awesome actually. A little bit down if I could. Nope. This, where's my, there we go. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. There we go. I don't have to add anything more there because that joint is pretty much invisible for the most part. But you could, if you want to, add a clean piece. Oh, I've got two of them. Of course I have. Okay, why not? And I'm just going to, yes, I am going to use some sticky. I'll just fill this up with adhesive tape. I know it's a little bit fussy, but when I could have just glued. But why not use up all these little bits that you've got? This one will go right to the edge. And that. Make sure I keep the spare. Okay, got all these pieces on here. Let's just burnish them really well. I'm going to be using glue. Need to be able to see that edge. Going to be very, very lovely, very elegant. I love it. Okay, now we are going to be creating some holes for our elastic. And I'm going to go white again. The other colours just don't do it for me. 2, 3, 4. So many colours, but they're gross, really. Okay, so let's just get this organised. Now we know that we've got, it's not quite 1/4 of an inch. Oh, almost. Almost is. It's a little bit more than 1/4 of an inch. Let's look at it this way. So that's good, that's good. So we'll just put a little mark there, a little mark there. And just go across. We can always rub out our pencil marks, that's no big deal. That's that 1/4 inch. Now, let's just find that 5/8 of an inch. And over here, 5/8. We're measuring the whole spine. Just 5/8. Just pop a little spot there, and just, oops, where's that little spot? There we go. Okay, we're not drawing. We're just holding our ruler and making sure it is straight with our spots, and it looks pretty straight to me. And then in here, between the ruler and the edge of our spine, we are going to mark the centre with a spot. And up here, mark the centre with a spot. Turn it around. Look for our little spots. And then mark the centre here with a spot, and this centre here with a spot. Okay, let's just double check, and everything looks pretty cool. There to there is good. There to there is good. There to there. Yep. So now we are going to grab our little, what should we call it? Hole punch. I can't remember what this is called. It's some sort of big shot. Anywho, I'm going to centre that spot that I drew inside where I'm punching. My little punch thing, centre it. As best I can. I mean, if I'm a millimetre out, don't stress over it. Perfect. I need to put, let's just move you out of the way, that's the way, get rid of that rubbish. Now I'm going to pop in my, do they call them grommets? I'm not sure if they're still, if they're called grommets or not. Anywho, put them in. Lovely. These finish off the spine nicely, but if you don't have a machine like this or anything that can give you those, don't worry about it. You can use, just make the hole and then make sure you clean it up around the edges. Okay. So now we are going to put in our elastic. Would that work? That might be enough. Go from the inside to the outside, bring it back in on the second hole. So you've just got that. Out and in. Yep, plenty. So let's pull this reasonably tight. I'd like it a little bit tighter than that. That sounds good. So the knot I prefer is left over right and under. Pull it tight. And then right over left and under. Now I'm not sure if this is called a reef knot or whatever it is. I learnt the strangest things in school. And then we're just going to trim. You don't want too much there, but you don't want to cut it near the knot. That's a no-no. Okay, that's the front. Which one should we have? Let's have this one at the front. Okay, you don't want your elastic so tight that it's going to tear your paper. You don't want it so loose that your signatures are going to float around. So this is about good. This is good. That is great. Beautiful. If you have a book press, then by all means, in fact I probably would press these in, the signatures in a book press, or put them between something really heavy, a couple of books or something. Okay, so now I'm going to have a look at what I can decorate with, if anything at all. Let's see what we've got. like that what's this? Extra pages I cut out. Do like that as pockets. I'm not going to use these fabric pieces. Should we have a sewing machine there? So many choices with my ephemera. Oh, you've got two of them. I'm going to put this one in as a little tuck spot over here. Then we can add a little journaling card. Right, use our scraps. Let's round off those corners. Actually, I want to cut this just a little bit shorter. Round, oh, they're pretty. Really pretty corners. And let's put something on the front of that. That's nice. Nice. And let's do something with this. I'm going to create just a little pocket with that. So I don't want it to be any more than 5 inches. Oopsie daisy. Okay, so that measures, oh, that's 6.5. we'll just take off two. Just take off two rolls of fabric. Here we go. And we'll stick that there. A bit further down, I think, behind this. There's a pocket, so across there. And up the side. Okay, that can go in there. And all these little pieces can be little journaling spots, or whoever ends up with this beautiful little journal can pop these anywhere you like. For instance, anywhere. So I'll add a few. Well, there's a nice big one. I'll add quite a few of these. There's some cotton reels. And that one. Don't want to fill it too much, but we want to give plenty. There. Okay. So awesome. We don't need to put anything else on the front. I think it's absolutely beautiful as it is. If we put anything else on, it would spoil it. Or would it if we raised them up? Did some layering. What if we did some layering? Let's just have a quick look. No, I don't think so. I just love the simplicity of it, to be honest. I love the simplicity of this. And actually, we could put a pocket on the back as well. Shall we? Why not? Oh, there's a little one. What are you doing in there? You don't belong in there. Let's trim this one down. Can you hear that rain? Actually, I don't think my microphone is good enough for you to hear that rain, but it's huge. Do you know what I'm going to do with this one? I am going to just give it a nice corner at the top. There we go. One. I like pink one. Two. Three. Got that one already. Four. Six. There we go. That's all we need. Isn't that just gorgeous? Okay, I hope you've enjoyed this. And if you've got any questions, please ask. I hope I've done the tutorial to your satisfaction. And you come back for the next project. Okay, that's it for now. And my tummy's rumbling, so I'm really got hungry. Okay, thanks for being with me. Hope you've enjoyed. Keep well and stay safe. Bye for now. Yeah, I am going. My mouse just keeps jumping. Bye-bye.